welcome to Skeptrack 2023. Thank you so much for coming. Oh, another year. I'm Dr. Angie. I'm your assistant director for the track. Thank you so much for coming. From left to right, we've got Kurt Anderson, who will dazzle you. He is getting his PhD up in Knoxville, Tennessee, and we're very excited to hear how that's going. Let's see, John Armstrong dazzles the mouse, and I can't wait to hear about that. Leanne Lord is a very funny lady and will make you split your sides. Ian Harris will break you and make you love it. So will Margaret Downey, for that matter. She's a mover and a shaker, and she has been staying with me this week, and boy, am I exhausted. So welcome to our panel. Thank you so much for coming. So this is our Skeptic Track Kickoff, and I would like to hear from any of the panelists how their year has been, because we've had all of y'all here before. We love you very much. Tell us how your year's been. Let's start with you, Kurt, since you've got the advanced degree in progress.
It's been insane. It condensed everything it transpired in a year down to the changes it caused in a single week. In a single week, I moved from one city to another while my wife and two of my children stayed behind, taking with me my special needs son who requires 24-hour care to start my PhD program at the University of Tennessee in Knoxville. My dog of 11 years passed away the day before I left, almost as if I'm not going to go with you. I'm not going to stay here. So that was, quite a change. I went from, 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom house on a 1-acre lot to a apartment less than 900 square feet, where my bed is on one wall and it's 6 steps to the other wall across the room. And, starting a PhD program where they put on me more work than I did, like, one whole semester of my master's program. So the workload has vastly increased. Teaching level has increased. What I'm expected to know has increased. And I, had to make all those transitions at one time. So, yeah, it's been kind of hectic, but overall, good. I like where I'm at right now. I still get to perform magic shows. I am actively a part of trying to make the world a place where knowledge advances, and I feel like that is a good place for me, and I'm glad to be here.
Now, your PhD is going to be in deception or something like that?
So technically, it's so crazy that we actually had a class where they teach you one of the things you have to learn how to say what your degree is going to be. So technically, I am working on an interdisciplinary PhD, or actually doctorate degree of interdisciplinary doctorate with a focus in communication studies, specializing in human deception.
I can't believe that's a thing, but that's fantastic.
That's
so it sounds better than say I study lying. So
that's amazing. So how's the year with the mouse been there, John?
Everything's great. You can just go on. That was a lot right there. I'm just doing my show on Disney Cruise Line and helping to raise my 3-year-old who's back there, probably talking at the moment.
Yay.
And we're in Burbank now, which is nice. We have a house there in Burbank, and then everything's great. No one's died. Everything I'm doing really well, actually. So money's really good. I don't know. But I've been working very hard on some personal projects. One of the things I wrote a book recently about magic and about how to perform magic the way that I do, and I'm very, very proud of that. And that'll be out hopefully next month. So.
Well, that's very exciting. Yeah. And it's kind of a weird commentary on our current society where the best part is that no one died.
Yeah, right.
It's been a couple of years. So anyway, but I'm glad everything's going well. Tell us more about your book.
It's called How to Win, and it's about basically performance for the stand-up magician. And there's a lot in magic history about close-up magic, like so much, and there's a lot about stage magic, like the grand illusions, things like that, but very little about sort of that stand-up, being able to stand up on stage with small props and perform for an audience, which has now become very much the main way that a lot of performers make their living. And this is a philosophy that I have about how to win, how to get over to a crowd and make them basically, want to see you and want to see you again.
And y'all have got to come to his magic show. It's one of my favorite shows I've ever seen. I mean, it's terrific. It's funny, it's engaging, and it's usually suitable for all ages, right?
Yes.
It's very Disney friendly, but at the same time, it's just one of the best things I've ever seen. So,
thank you.
Yep, yay. So, and thanks so much for coming back again. Leanne, tell us what's going on in your life.
Oh, well, everybody died. No, I'm kidding. I'm so kidding. Death not funny? Okay.
Too soon.
It's been an interesting year. I've not said this publicly yet, but I have woke up on January 2nd and said I gotta get it together. And I have walked every day, every single day, since January 2nd, and lost. Well, I shouldn't say lost, because I always know where to find the weight, but dropped 20 pounds.
Yay!
In that time.
Congratulations.
So I can fit my cosplay. I've discovered that home ownership is a terrible thing. I've had to get a new roof, had electrical problems, refrigerator stopped working. It had a nest of bees, a beehive in the wall in my house.
Oh man.
Yeah, and I am horribly bug phobic. So when the guy came over, he's like, "Yeah, you've got bees in the walls." I'm like, "What do I do now? Do I just move? Do I?"
That's like some weird euphemism. Your bees in your walls. Yikes.
As opposed to the bonnet. So yeah, there we are. Because I got to be different. But yeah, a lot of money spent on home repair, but it has been a good year. Personally and as a performer, I will be at SciCon, performing at SciCon this year, which is the mid-October.
Yep.
After that, I will be emceeing once again the Irma Bombeck Writers Workshop. I am now their official MC.
Oh, that's exciting.
And we are starting up again our fall tour of Funny Women of a Certain Age, which was created by my very good friend Carol Montgomery. If you have not seen, we have 3 Showtime specials. I am in the 3rd one, so there's Funny Women of a Certain Age, more Funny Women of a Certain Age, and then even more Funny Women of a Certain Age, and I'm in the even more part. And so that tour, it actually starts when I get back, but if you check my website, veryfunnylady.com, you'll see the tour dates coming up for that, and we have such a blast. We have absolutely a blast.
That's really great, too, because we don't have a lot of women of a certain age represented.
I'm glad you added represented. There are a ton of us, believe it or not, very, very talented women. But again, in the entertainment industry, and I'm sure in many industries, once the placenta dries, they're not really interested in you as a woman. And it's even more important now as we see a lot of laws curiously being passed against adults who should know how to make their own decisions. But yeah, here we are, everybody.
Yeah.
But it is nice to see or be part of Funny Women of a Certain Age, especially because I am the youngest woman of a certain age on the tour. They hate when I say that, but it's true.
Oh, goodness. So, Ian, tell us how your year's been.
I am not in Funny Women of a Certain Age, actually.
Yeah, you were this close, man.
I know,
right?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I think it was the age. I wasn't of a certain age, I think might have been the thing. The next one's called What You Did Last Summer, right? Is that the next? I still know what Funny Women of a Certain Age did last summer. I don't know.
What have you heard?
You don't have to even guess. I mean, they'll just tell you.
Right. Things have been good for me. I mean, I just, it's been, my daughter graduated high school, which was kind of interesting.
Wow.
Yes, my only one kid, so it's like, now she's basically an adult, which is weird. Now
you have instilled a healthy sense of skepticism in her too, right?
Yeah, she's way smarter than I ever was, and she's pretty. I don't know. She's my kid. I think she's pretty damn cool. But
okay, she's not my kid. She is pretty damn cool.
She surprises me every day. Actually, tomorrow I'm gonna do or tomorrow. Jesus, that's where I'm at still. Tonight, we're doing a show tonight.
Don't say Jesus. They don't like that.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Thor?
X-nay on the Jesus.
I don't know. But yeah, so actually, I have a bit. I'm going to reprise a very old bit from her tonight that I haven't done in a decade, but there's a new little thing that she said to me in the car just a few weeks ago, and I had to say it's not like a joke, but I have to say it on stage because it just blew me away. I was like, God, you're right again, and I didn't notice it. So I'll be saying a joke that my daughter wrote basically tonight on stage. But yeah, I mean, things are good. I haven't been doing comedy much. This is really pretty much the only time I do stand-up anymore in the last few years. Like the last time I did stand-up was DragonCon 2022.
Wow.
So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and the time before that was DragonCon 2021.
But you're still doing your martial arts.
Still own a gym, and I've been writing and directing, films. And we had a short film that I talked about last year. I just finished the cut last year at DragonCon, and we tried to win the Academy Award. We didn't end up winning the Academy Award, but we did get to we got the all the other steps and qualified and then to the first set of lists or whatever.
Well, tell folks about the movie.
It should be coming out. We just finished all of our festival run, and it'll be coming out probably streaming. I think it's going to be on the Brick TV, and then we'll see where else it goes. It might be on like Apple TV and all those, just wherever you can stream stuff. But it's called What Matters. I can't even really describe what it's about, but it kind of centers around our perceptions on things, and it's some people will call it a Black Lives Matter film. It's not. It's about healthcare. It's about all sorts of things, but it centers around a bank robbery. We start at the end where we see that there's a man who's been shot, and then we go back to the beginning and get back to the end, and get back there and realize that maybe what we saw was not what we thought we saw, which is kind of what happens quite a bit when people get shot.
Does the strike affect you at all at this point in the process?
Well, not in this one, no.
Okay.
But I do have a feature that I've been trying to put together for many years, at least 2 years, just raising all the money and all that. And we finally have our cast pretty much locked, and I can't say who all they are but it's really, really exciting. And then the strike hit.
Yeah.
So, but the good news is that they're doing interim agreements for independent films, and I wasn't sure because I know some people like Sarah Silverman and a few people like that are like, don't do the interim agreement. It's not good. And then other people are saying, no, this is the best way to stick it to the studios. So I asked all the cast, and one of the cast members is on the SAG board, and he said, no, let's get the interim agreement and let's start shooting it. So hopefully we'll be shooting that this year, which would be really, really, really cool. So
that's exciting.
And I'm sorry, in case anyone doesn't know, we have two entertainment unions that are currently on strike, the Writers Guild of America and SAG-AFTRA. Strike, there are many issues, one of them being AI, one of them being studios being greedy folk that don't want to pay creators and performers. And we said, okay, then we're striking. So
yes, but by the way, all the issues are studios being greedy.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, greed is good. Okay, yeah, whatever.
Oh goodness. Okay, Margaret, you made it! Yay! So tell us.
I was late. So I'm here to promote the parade. We have so much fun bringing our skeptic message to 90,000 people who watch us on the streets of Atlanta, as well as the people who watch it on CW. They film the parade and millions see it. So we have a chance to talk about what skepticism is in the way of costuming and signs. And this year I added 4 new costumes. And believe me, you can wear your street clothes. You don't have to have any particular thing to participate. You'll never forget it. There's something about being in the DragonCon parade that lives in your excitement level and your sense of pride, actually. So please see me. All the costumes are set up in the back of the room. I'm also trying to collect donations because adding costumes is expensive. Each sign does cost us about $25. So we're also very grateful to Dr. Angie for always donating every month to the cause. She's been extremely helpful. And without her storing the costumes right here in Atlanta, I don't know what I'd do. And so her big, nice house has been wonderful to work in as well. All my costumes are clean. Everything is sewn, no buttons missing or anything. So, but I want to
just to clarify, I did not do in the sewing or the button mending. But Margaret has worked like a dynamo. She's running up and down the 3 flights of stairs to go up to the washing machine, and everything is absolutely clean. But she has put together this parade entry, so please participate. It's so much fun. It's the best way to even get a look at all the other costumes up close and personal, and it really definitely raises our profile of skepticism, and nobody does it better than Margaret. She absolutely has been one of our pioneers. Tell us about the Thomas Paine project.
Oh, Angie, thank you for asking. I am so excited, everyone. I think I mentioned last time I was here that I was working on getting a bill passed through Congress and the Senate, and hopefully made into law, to build a statue of Thomas Paine in Washington, D.C. And we have done it. The bill passed with the help of Congressman Jamie Raskin, who is now the honorary chair of the Thomas Paine Memorial Association. And it went through the Senate, then it went into the omnibus bill, and on December 27th, President Biden signed it into law. So now the tough parts have come, and we already have a statue made by a world-famous sculptor, Zenos Fridakis. If you get a chance, look at his website. It's amazing. And we hired a consulting firm, which is required by the Washington, D.C. commissioners. That was $100,000, but we did it. And so now we're just moving forward with fundraising and site selection. And hopefully we'll have something to unveil in 2026, the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. That's our goal. But it's a lofty goal, because I'm anticipating this statue or monument is going to be about $2 million. So if you know any billionaires, please let me know. Or if you'd like to be a part of this historical adventure, please let me know. Our next event is January 29th, and we've already got some superstars lined up to be online with us. And then I also want to do a pitch for the Secular Day of the Dead. This year it is overwhelmingly inundated with Mexican entertainment that will knock your socks off. It's online. You can look it up. Secular Day of the Dead, November 2nd, 2023. Thanks.
Well done. So, okay, so we've kind of reviewed the past. And what would y'all like to see for the future? And have you seen what's anything recently that gives you confidence that our movement is actually doing something or making progress? Has anybody seen anything that stands out particularly?
So, one of the panels that I'm doing kind of came from that. There's some really good documentaries out there that are gaining traction right now. So, how many here? You can raise your hand. You don't have to, but I just kind of wonder how many of you have heard of or have seen Happy Shiny People, the Duggar Family Secret.
Oh my gosh, we watched that the other night. It was shocking.
It's quite a documentary. It's really well done, but it kind of surprised me that I saw a lot of people posting about it in social media and like, hey, this is really something. And we happen to have one of the people that was instrumental in that documentary series, who's a personality that's pretty upfront in the docu, is going to be on a panel with me. He was raised in that cult, and he's going to talk about his experience in the cult and deconstructing his faith once he started to see the walls crumble in his own life. And for me to follow him and see social media pick up on this. So not only are there some really good documentaries that kind of start to show how to skeptically think about different aspects of life, cults and religions and movements and things like that, and then see people on social media giving these 15-second, 30-second blurbs and really gaining a following, and then having people engaged in those short little blibbits to then follow them on YouTube where they can see 10-minute or 15-minute and then buy their book. Or I see momentum there, and maybe it's just me looking for it, but I see that, and I am encouraged.
The thing that I don't know, now I'm going the opposite way. I'm not mean to be, but I have I think it might just be the way I approach people. I'm abrasive, but I really am apparently. But I think
That's what we love about you, Ian.
It's interesting though, because I find on one hand, like, talk about social media. Now, social media is a little tiny microcosm, and of course the algorithms are pointing you toward the people that like you and that's have similar interests and whatever. So it's hard to get an actual sample of that, an accurate sample. But on one hand, I'm noticing when people are posting or talking about nonsense, I'm seeing a lot more people saying, "Where's your source?" Which is nice.
Oh, that's good.
On the other hand, I'm actually seeing people say, "Who's facts?" a lot, and I'm seeing people say, "Well, I don't care about that source." And we go, "Okay, well, here's 10 more sources. I don't care about any of those sources." I hear that all the time, and a good example of thinking about movies was the one that recently the Sound of Freedom thing. There's tons and tons of, and it's interesting. You can see where people get their news because people repeat the exact same lines, which is bizarre. I've had like 20 people, 30 people, 40 people say word for word the same phrase, and I'm like, where did you get that? That must be something. Do they hand out a memo of this is how to respond? And I would try to just correct people. Like, I hear people say 800,000 American children are sex trafficked a year, and I go, no, 150. Period. 800,000 people under the age of 18 go missing. 99% are returned home safely, and they're runaways, or they are going in as parental abductions, that sort of. And I'm posting from the government websites here. Look, this is actually statistics, and people will say, "So you're for child sex trafficking?" And I'm like, "That's not." And you try to point out, no, these are things we need to worry. These are actual problems. Here are the actual problems. Here are the ones that are not problems. Here are the things that are helping. Here are the things that are not helping. And when people get stuck on their narrative, it's really hard to go, no, your narrative's fine. We're all in agreement. This should never happen. But what is the solution? And if there's a political narrative behind it nowadays, we're so tribal that it's like people can't even discuss facts half the time because it and that goes on both sides, but it goes one side more.
Yeah.
How do you do that? How do you get through that? And every time I bring it up, people are like, "Oh, you're just such a jerk," or why you have to be so negative, or where did you get these? Well, here's my 20 different sources. How do you get past that? I don't know.
I don't either. And in fact, I've got very close family members to me that, number one, that movie in particular was an example that was given to me, and it was straight out of what you just described. And I tried to explain, look, this is not real. This is imagination. This is not a real thing. But it says this is based on a true story. I said, well, maybe the same name, but that's not really what happened.
Well,
The
I mean,
Exorcist
there was a dude named
The Exorcist is based on a true story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like there's lots of films that they're completely fictional that are based on a true story.
It reminds me of an old Outer Limits episode. Y'all remember Outer Limits, right? Okay, so one of the things, and I was maybe 6 or 7, and it came up and it says, "This is a true story. Only the facts have been completely distorted." And I didn't know what distorted meant at that time. I mean, I guess I did at 6, but not at like 5 or whatever it was. But and it made me laugh once I knew what that meant. But now every time I hear based on a true story, that screen pops into my mind. Only the facts have been completely distorted, and that's exactly what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
So that's heartbreaking.
And in this case, the guy even says, "This is not really. This is a fictionalized version of what happened." And then even what did happen in that case, the experts have said, "Stop doing it. You're not helping." Mm-hmm. And then it's actually created, and I don't think it's created a huge market, but there are multiple reports that it's actually created a market for some of these cartels, because that's the other thing is it's happening in the countries where the places that we won't help the kids when then they come to seek asylum. But they he said, like, this is it's like it's a tourist business basically that this guy does. But the FBI and other people have said that because there weren't kids being abducted, that now they're abducting kids because he was paying to buy kids back from some of these places. So he was saying, I'll offer you money just to get the kids back. So what happened is they're like, oh, they're paying money for kids.
Oh my God.
That's literally, and I don't think it's happening at a huge scale, but it's actually happened where some of these cartels and stuff are like, well, let's snatch some kids because they're paying top dollar for them. And it's created a problem. And there's a whole big story about how this, oh no, and the FBI is like, please stop. You are not helping the situation. And the point is that when they point that out, I get, oh, then you must be a pedophile. Yeah, I guess that's what it is. I
How much do you attribute that to the democratization of science, where people? I know you had a lot to drink last night.
No.
No. No. No, I mean, how much of that do you contribute to the democratization of, like, expertise, for example? So I'm a doctor, in case y'all didn't know, and so I have patients that come in with really bad information, and they're making healthcare decisions based on stuff they read on the internet from very, very unreliable sources. And then they'll argue with me over what the proper course of treatment is. I'm like, well, why did you even come to me if you are not interested in actual expertise? And I mean, I try to help them as much as they're willing to be helped, but at the same time, this sort of behavior. Give a little sort of a synopsis of the story. It's that this guy.
So I mean, and I have not seen the movie. I've only read countless articles about the movie and about the situation. Apparently, he goes to does his own raids.
Well, this is what he claims. He claims he does,
which I believe he actually does.
Yeah.
But there was he goes and does his own raids in in Mexico and Central America and places like that to try to get back kids that have been abducted. But there was a period where people were paying, like rich people were paying to go on these raids with him. Like you could pay to go and be part of one of these raids. And then he was like just realizing that, well, what if I just negotiate with these people and give them money to get the kids back? And that's where the problem. The other problem started. The first problem is that he's like has some background. He was in the
was he at Special Forces or something?
Yeah, so he does have some background, but it became other people saying, oh, we want to go and we want to help the children. So he was turning it into tourism basically.
They want to help those children, but not the ones in the cages and not the ones who don't have enough resources in school. Okay, so let's go help the children.
It's just one of those weird situations. I mean, I feel like that's half of America now, where we have these causes that sound good, that everyone's like, I'm behind this thing. But when you look at the details of, well, here's a better way to help that cause.
Yeah.
They don't care. I mean, I hate the word virtue or the phrase virtue signaling because it's used, in all sorts of weird ways. But that's really what it is. Like, look at me, I'm doing something great for the children.
Yeah.
And I'm going to pay money to say, hey, look, I can go on a raid, and I'm helping these kids out. And
they're doing it for the gram.
Right.
That's right.
Seriously. So
selfie with a child. Click, click.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, so then then they made the movies. The movie's like a Rambo version of it. It's like Jim Caviezel's playing him or whatever, and there's it's kicking indoors. And I mean, I haven't seen the movie. It's just from what I've read about it, it's just a it's a fantasy movie that is based on a true story. But it starts out. The point about with my thing is it starts out saying 800,000 kids go missing every year, which isn't a lie, but the movie is about child sex trafficking. And so people who watch it go, 800,000 American kids are sex trafficked. And then Fox News picks it up. And then the next thing you know, everyone's claiming 800,000 kids are American kids are sex trafficked. And it's like not even close to what's going on. But they go, I saw it. It's based on a true story. That's the statistic they put up at the beginning of the movie. That must be the true part, at the very least. And it's like, and then you've got this narrative that that's really happening. And I mean, and it's not, again, it's not specifically one. I had the people on our podcast recently that said, no, well, that part's true. And I was like, no, that part isn't true. And I pulled up the statistics. They, oh, really? That part isn't true? No, it's not. It's just, it's very vague. 800,000 kids go missing. Yeah, that's true. But, and again, I'm not saying that they shouldn't be there, not poo-pooing parental abductions and runaways. That's not a good thing either, obviously. But it's not the same thing as these people all have this fantasy. Like when someone says like child sex trafficking, they all think it's the movie Taken, and and they're going to be, I've got a certain set of skills, and they're all going to go after this guy, and that that 5-year-olds are being snatched off the swings and sent to Saudi Arabia to be some part of somebody's, child sex ring, and it's like that's not remotely what's happening. But that's the fantasy. So when this guy makes this movie of we're going into Central America and we're busting kids out, it's like people think that's happening at the tune of 800,000 Americans a year. It's just not even close.
I just want to say, dude, pay your child support. How about we start there?
Right.
So, I mean, like the movies seem to shape our perception of actual reality. And is that what you're... I'm very gratified to see. We watched Shiny Happy People actually based on your recommendation, and it was really an eye-opening. So, I mean, like we all kind of knew that stuff probably was happening because humans are humans, and that happens anytime you get that very strong power differential. But the depictions that he's talking about, can you comment on that?
So I can, but can you funnel that question a little different? So
My
I know what
coffee
you're
has
asking
not yet
exactly.
kicked in, and so my brain sort of ran out of speed there. But the shaping of the perceptions based on entertainment, because
Sure, yeah, and you're never going to completely separate someone's point of view or their biases or their agenda or whatever. But in talking with Chad, who was in the documentary, it was important to him that they weren't trying to just sensationalize this whole thing. Like he really thought it was important that they got at the core. What was the issue they had with the? So it's at its core, it's about the Bill Gothard seminar, the Bill Gothard Ministries, and that was important to me because I went to a Christian school where we used Bill Gothard's material for our Bible and our ethics classes. And then, right? So, somebody who knows what that means, the implications of that, right? And so kind of the short thing is Bill Gothard put out an entire set of material on how to raise your family, how to be a good husband, how to be a good wife, how to be good kids. Bill Gothard was never married. And his authority was God told him what to write. And so it goes into, back to the mentality that Ian's dealing with, right? So some of this, if you believe in a particular deity and someone tells you that you love and respect that deity told them this is right, that can't be wrong. So it doesn't matter what Ian's got to say. It doesn't matter what the statistics have to say. It doesn't matter what the science says, because you, at your core, honestly believe what you know cannot be wrong. Not that it's not wrong, that it cannot be wrong. And so then you can go make a move. If your movement is we're going to get these kids out, and it's okay to sensationalize it because it's a movie, we're going to take some artistic license because we know at the core we're right. Then that snowballs, that escalates. And so this movie tried to stay away from that perspective when they made it. They didn't Bill Gothard's the most horrible person, and we're here to destroy everything with them and the Duggars and all that. But they're like, here's what's happened, here's kind of where it's at, and we don't know where this is going, and they don't say they're all horrible, terrible people, but they point out the horrible, terrible things they've done. And yeah, it's certainly from a particular perspective, but you can't separate out perspective, you can't separate out beliefs completely, but the reason there's the Skeptrack is so that we can discuss these and try to figure out how we can do a better job of getting to the truth. One of the hardest things I believe in life is to realize that someone that you love and respect tells you something doesn't make it more likely to be true. And that doesn't matter if you're religious or not. It doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat. It doesn't matter who you are or what you believe, right? We're communal, we're tribal, and those natural reactions are super important, or we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't have evolved to where we're at. But at the same time, that process doesn't stop. We need to learn to get past that a little better.
Yeah. I thought Margaret was going to break my television, honestly. But and it's fun. It brings to mind, like, how you have the interactions with your parents or whatever, and my mother was upset about something a while back. I don't remember what it was, but and she said something to me, like texting me. She's like, "Now I know that you don't listen or whatever," and I texted back, "No, I listen. I just may not agree." And I never actually heard her say that again. So, maybe by drawing a boundary, you can. I don't know if that works or not.
I have some good news.
What's that?
I don't know if all of you know about the Harris family. They have 2 children, Elle and Bailey. I'm sorry. Bailey's
Oh, yes. But
okay.
Tell us who Bailey is.
Yeah, Bailey wrote a book about We Are All Stardust.
And how old was she when she did that?
8 years old.
Yeah.
And then her sister followed up as a writer. She wrote Elle the Humanist, which is absolutely adorable. If you have children, consider getting these books for them. But Doug Harris, the father, just wrote a book about the number 13. And don't be afraid of number 13. It's all about frigatriskaidekaphobia. And we are publishing it on October 13th, which is a Friday. And
Excellent.
We are selling it at the Freedom from Religion Foundation conference on Friday the 13th. But it's a really good book, something that starts teaching young ages about critical thinking and questioning and learning more. So I'm really in favor of getting books out for young children that talk about hard things. Elle the Humanist talks about how religion hurts people in her school because they start to categorize and discriminate. And so this book teaches about tolerance and how many other religions there are and what to say. And so, please encourage our young writers. I think there's hope there.
And, really quick, I don't know if this just reminded me of that because my daughter is also a Belle Harris. But my daughter a couple years ago started a youth group for non-religious teens called Evolve Youth Group with Evan Clark at Atheist United. So they launched it. It's like a national, Evolve Youth Group thing, but it was only in Los Angeles. They were like creating it and trying it out and, trying to figure it out. So I think the goal, she's 18 now and she's moving on, so she's finding somebody to take her place. But I think that would be a really cool thing their goal long term is to have these in places other than just Los Angeles where we don't really need it as much, which was their biggest challenge is that, as many millions of people are in Los Angeles, lots of stuff to do, and there wasn't really a problem with, with kids being, feeling odd about being atheist or secular or whatever.
Yeah.
But the places where they do need that, it would be nice if they people knew that it's out there to maybe, hey, how do we start something like this? Because I feel the community aspect, especially with kids, is what is what's important.
Yeah.
And I never was involved in sort of a youth group type thing when I was a kid, but I remember other kids getting involved in those, and sometimes friends that weren't religious, but they were like, I just like to go because there's other people there and
Nutter-butters. Yeah.
Right, and then getting sucked into something weird or going leaving because they're like, oh, this is really gross and creepy, and I'm like, it was kind of interesting that they said, hey, let's do something that doesn't have any of those elements but still allows kids to talk about things and be with other, like-minded
I think they're
teenagers or
making a
whatever.
toolkit, right? Are they developing a toolkit?
Evan probably is.
Yeah,
yes,
probably.
Yeah. So if anybody's interested in or has, teenager, preteen that are, want to start a chapter of Evolve Youth Group, talk to Evan Clark at Atheist United because I think it's a cool thing.
And there may actually already be groups that are just kind of on the wane because they don't have membership. Please, the internet makes it so much easier to find each other now, and it's important to join a group that's already in existence, because we get continually fragmented as we create new things. Because it's fun to create new things. You want to be. You want to be the thing, you want to create the thing, but sometimes the thing's already there. You just don't have a lot of energy into it because people don't know about it. So it is important to join wherever you can find.
Yeah, it makes me so mad when other people have these parade entries. I thought we should be the only one.
That's right.
Based on what you guys have said, I heard a quote this morning. I'll paraphrase it. I'm not sure if it's Frederick Douglass or not, but that it's easier to create strong children than to fix broken people.
It's true.
Yes.
So the earlier that we start, there's a reason why churches recruit or indoctrinate young. I'm not saying we should indoctrinate, but give young folks the tools they need to be discerning in a world that is absolutely created to distract, to warp, to, just to give folks the skills to go, I don't know. I need more information.
Yeah.
Why do you think that? Making it okay to question. I went to Catholic school. There was no questioning. So yeah, even the freedom to say, why are we doing this?
But it's funny though that you say that's another thing that I keep running into, another wall I keep running into, especially with all the stuff going on in Florida. This both sides thing, like you just said, not to indoctrinate, but education is not indoctrination, and it's like when you educate somebody on facts to counter the indoctrination, the other side says, well, you're just indoctrinating. It's like, no. These are actual facts. This is stuff that really happened. This is actual history. What you are doing is indoctrination. And I know it seems like sometimes we go, well, we don't want to indoctrinate either. Well, then don't. But there's a big difference between the two. And the fact that they get conflated nowadays, that well, if you teach anything opposite of what we're teaching, then you're also indoctrinating. And it's like, well, no, that's literally not the word. I am just, look at the history, look at the things that they're teaching and not teaching and changing the way education is done in certain states. And the reason is they're saying, well, we need to do this because colleges are indoctrinating our kids. And you go, oh, so what is it we're doing? Oh, we're going to make sure that we remove this part of history, or we're going to teach this religion to not indoctrinate. Like, that's the most bizarre thing that I see happening these days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we've been talking a while. We've got a little time left. There's a microphone out here in the middle of the aisle here. Don't touch it or Mark will come down on you with a machete. So, but if you stand there, it will adjust on its own. And we would love to hear some questions from the audience.
Hey, what questions?
I think we're double checking.
What questions I would love to hear from the audience in the opening panel? I got to thinking about this. Like the core people here that come here at 10 o'clock on Thursday morning,
Friday morning,
our people, right?
Yeah.
And here we're talking about, like, we're about to start my favorite weekend of the year. And I got to thinking, like, I wonder why you're here and why you're here and why you're here. And what do you want from this weekend? What are you looking forward to? What have you went through and went, I wonder what that panel's like. I'd like to know more about this. What can Skeptrack do for you? Like, we're here and we talk, right? And we know kind of like what our jam is or what our point of view is, or like, I know I want to see John perform, right? That's why I'm here. But why are you here? What do you want from Skeptrack? What do you want from us? What makes this better?
Mm-hmm.
And if the answer is open bar, just say that.
That's not outside of the realm of possibility, I suppose.
If you don't ask, you don't get.
That's right. So, Yep, so the microphone's right there. We've got about 15 minutes left. We've got another year before the next Skeptrack. What do you hope to achieve? You said you want to see John perform like this weekend.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh well, okay. I mean, until we get a few more questions, what's like everybody's? What are you looking forward to? Like your own panel or someone else's? Like me, it's a bit different. I'm looking forward to this panel about the happy, shiny people, about cults and deconstructing. I'm excited to share with you. I bought a haunted teapot on Facebook that houses the essence of a succubus, and I want to tell you about that in one of my panels. That's what I look forward to.
Well,
Isn't that
Right.
7 o'clock tonight?
It is a glorious story that cost me $1.
Well,
It's
that's
$1 too much,
cliffhanger.
sir.
Oh yes. It's in my hotel room. I have a succubus in a teapot in my room. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Excellent.
Are we
Yes.
going to let it go out at 7 o'clock
Well,
tonight?
you're gonna have to come to find out.
I'm on your panel.
I know that, right? I'm not
Oh,
telling.
Well,
Right.
we have a questioner out there, very, very obediently not touching the microphone. So come on up. Come on up.
So do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. So my name is Heike de Wald. Originally, I'm from Germany. So I'm. Hey, that's cool.
Yeah. That's why you don't touch it, because Mark will take care of it.
I'm following the Skeptracks, I think, for the last 7 or 8 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Ian.
Hey.
So, and what I'm looking forward to is actually the show of Ian. So where to begin? The thing is, I had to sign up on Facebook 2 years ago. And it was with a group and stuff like that, so I don't want to go into details. But I got bombed with some of these reels that you see sometimes. And I mean, I get weird things, half-naked ladies, and but most of them is actually flat earthers.
Oh yes.
So, and
That's a
it's
hell of a-
unbelievable. Now
hell
you
of a
say with the
wild
proof, yeah, so where do they have the proof? I ask myself, where do they have the proof? Yeah, it's so weird. Last year there was a panel about the flat earthers and they really explained it very good, why it can't be, why it can't happen. But I wonder, so how to get a sphere in their flat head.
Well, the problem is that the globe manufacturers don't want you to know the truth because
Big
the
globe.
globe manufacturers make tens of dollars a year manufacturing globes for
Yeah.
elementary schools. So that's the big problem. It's big globe.
I
We need
mean,
to get behind.
I actually, the other day, actually it was a year ago when I went out with my wife and we were passing a library and they had globes all over the display. And I took a picture of that and I posted it and said, that's flat earthers hell.
Well, wait a minute. There's two sides to every flat earth.
I think one side's a turtle, though.
Yeah,
isn't it? Isn't it
one
side?
final question also for the audience. If flat earthers also call it global warming.
No, they don't. I don't think they believe it exists.
But by the way, there's a documentary. It's a few years old. The one I forgot what it's called because it's been, the one on Netflix. I'm sure if you just what is it?
Behind the curve.
Yeah,
Behind the curve.
My favorite part of that. There's lots of gems in that, but my favorite part is when there's the main guy, Mark or whatever his name is, and there's the woman that he's with, and they're trying to find the Flat Earth Convention, and they're driving around Dallas or some part of Texas. They're trying to find the Flat Earth Convention, and they're using their GPS, and they're talking about how the GPS says this. The GPS. I'm like, those three initials contain two things you don't believe in:
Yeah.
globes and satellites, right? Like, I mean, it's crazy to me that that doesn't even occur to them. They're driving around using a GPS to find the Flat Earth Convention on a Flat Earth documentary.
I'm consistently stunned that we just haven't. We're still here as human beings. That we.
Yep. Next question. That was a good question. Thank you.
Hello. First part, that haunted succubus teapot. When is that?
It's 7 o'clock tonight, right?
7 o'clock
Let's
tonight.
see. Yeah, superstition and cursed artifacts.
Oh man.
Yeah.
On the
Awesome.
13th floor, though.
I will absolutely find
You have to
that.
walk under
No,
a ladder. to get
it'll
in.
be here.
Awesome.
It'll be
Oh,
here,
perfect.
yes.
So,
We're going to set up ladders that you have
The
to walk
13th
under.
floor was a joke in the same vein.
I love it. I am convinced that no one actually believes that the Earth is flat in a vacuum. You have to have a set of wild beliefs built as a foundation before you even get across that event horizon. Because usually you talk to these people and they are just inundated with either deep religious beliefs or deep conspiracy theories, and they by the time they say, oh, the Earth might not be a globe, they're already so far down a rabbit hole that it's getting hotter. As far as why I'm here at Dragon Con, I've just missed it. Like, this is my first Dragon Con after COVID, and so I'm happy to be here for Skeptrack, and anything you guys come up with, any fun stuff, I'm here for it. So thank you for being here.
Okay,
Thanks
so
for coming.
Thanks for coming
I'll
back.
see you back at the
He needs
back
to
of the
You're going
room.
to be in the parade with Margaret now.
Yes.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah. Woohoo. Got one.
Hi, Chuck.
We found our Nancy Drew.
Right.
Sorry.
Hi, Chuck.
So Ian, you didn't mention one of my favorite things you do, which is your podcast with Ty Barnett.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Which you've been a guest on before, Chuck. A couple times.
yeah,
Yeah.
I tried to be
Because
I
we
tried
love
to
Chuck.
be a peacemaker with what the lady was, some
Oh, yeah, we had you on with the crazy
libertarian
panel.
Q panel. Yeah.
Yes.
Wasn't successful. She left. So
They always leave.
anyway, but
So what are you trying to get? What are you hoping to gain this year? We see you everywhere. We love you every year. But what do you want this year?
I love this Skeptrack. There's a few other things I want to go see, film noir, those things. Love the shows. I think it's the shows that bring me back the most. So the comedy. I want to see the succubus. I mean,
Well, who doesn't?
yeah. So
And he's going to be in the parade. He is portraying a quack doctor. And he won the big prize a couple years ago when we caught the best picture ever of him dressed as a quack doctor standing in front of a chiropractic facility.
That was excellent.
I'm also a Friday the 13th baby. So
Nice.
Oh, cool.
so and a Scorpio. I don't know what that means.
No.
But whatever.
Yeah.
You mentioned both sides, and Ian, you reminded me of something that Mort Saul, when he was younger and hipper than he was in his later years, said the idea of both sides is completely wrong. Sometimes there's 1,000 sides, and sometimes there's only one side.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Interesting.
Yeah.
no, I love Dragon Con, and Skeptrack was my introduction to Dragon Con. And I
Excellent.
got here because of Skepticamp here in
Oh,
Atlanta.
neat. Yeah.
So
Okay.
Nice.
Thanks, Chuck.
Thanks,
We'll
Chuck.
see you in the parade.
Silly me. I really just thought everybody came here for my birthday weekend.
We do, Leanne.
Well.
We totally do. We totally do. Yep.
You sure did.
Yep.
We did.
Hi.
Hi. First of all, thank you for being here and putting on a great panel. I came here because I've taken up writing. I'm a scientist by training, but I've taken up fantasy writing, and I'm trying to convey critical thinking issues with my characters.
What's your science background? I mean, what's your specialty?
Oh, a few different things. So I'm actually a software consultant right now. But I was formerly a COVID-19 laboratory supervisor.
Oh, wow.
Testing, not like clinical diagnostic testing.
Okay.
And I've made avian vaccines, and I also have a master's degree in sustainable agriculture. I've done a lot of molecular science.
Oh, wow. So you actually, that's fascinating. So you got have you had a lot of people that argue with you over?
That was actually about what I was going to ask. Yes.
I want to hear about like GMOs and about COVID-19.
Yes. So what I'm going to ask is probably something we could put on a whole panel about.
I was going to say, y'all scoot over. We got to do it.
But like, if you could sum up, like, in short, assuming you don't disengage with a person, when they come up and pick, like, an actual argument with you because of your background, especially, like, you as a doctor can relate, I'm sure, but you're a professional in something and then they want to come and actually argue with you about it under the guise of asking your professional opinion. And that's a very hard sort of conflict to resolve comfortably, or at least get them thinking about it, because they've already made a decision. So how do you cope with that?
Me?
All of you.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, you specifically talked about patients, and so it is a hard question, especially if somebody is doing something that's actively potentially damaging others, like not vaccinating, or won't wear a mask when there's obvious epidemic, or like coughing up without even covering their mouth when they know they have COVID, or so, just like that kind of thing. And it's hard because you have to address the belief without denigrating the person, because the person is, I have to believe, is genuinely doing what they think is right. They have really bad information, but I believe that people genuinely are trying to do the right thing. And they're not the mustache. The villains don't believe they're villains. Like they they're not mustache twirling, whatever. They really genuinely are trying to do the right thing for their kids, for their family, for themselves. In most cases, but since I don't live in their skin, I can't say why smoking is more pleasurable than breathing. So, even when they come in with repeated COPD exacerbations or pneumonia time and time again, or, things that are obviously linked to smoking, I'm an ex-smoker, so and it took me 2 years to quit cold turkey. So that's a really hard that's a really hard draw. And so, but you do a daily, second to second, minute to minute, hour to hour risk benefit analysis, and we are bad as a species at projecting long term problems or complications. We are kind of hardwired to want the short term. I'm an emergency doctor for a reason, right? Because I can solve a problem or I can't solve the problem, and then I turf it off to people who are comfortable managing things on a longer basis. So I didn't mean to keep going like that, but you kind of have to figure out a way to address the problem or the belief without
you said denigrating the person.
That was that. So,
because,
and
like, facts are not your best weapon in that argument.
No. It really isn't, because you got to appeal to their emotions, because people don't make decisions based on facts. They make them based on the emotions associated with those. And so that's the thing you have to address. And if you have a very compelling story, or if you can kind of sit beside them metaphorically, say, I used to believe that too, or I've heard that before, but here, I don't think that's true, and here's why, and you kind of tell them the story, and that gives them something to latch onto. And people really are motivated by stories. We are a storytelling species. That's how we relayed information before we had writing. And so the story is way more compelling. The emotions are far more compelling than facts. So that's the thing you have to address.
And I know we're like super short on time and want to try to get the last couple people
and I
in
want to
too.
make sure everybody has time
But
for
from a
shameless
communication standpoint, my expertise is in human communication. Find commonality. As Angie said, you want to do what's best. They want to do what's best, right? And then find the commonality. Okay, yes, we want to address this, and then start at kind of the core things. A lot of times, the definition of when you want something, somebody else wants something. Sometimes you're talking past each other. Find the commonality, then find the base where you're differing, and then share that compelling information in a story form where they can kind of process it. And just, you can't typically change your mind, but try to point out where these paths separated and see if you can't get them to consider looking at the other path.
Yeah, and ask them. What I've learned to do is ask questions that lead them to an answer that they have to come up with themselves, that they can't deny. And why is that? And do you think this? Why is that? And just keep pushing to where they go. They come up with it on their own. Oh wait, so this is what Yes,
or realize they hadn't thought it through at all.
Right. Or sometimes you just plant the seed. You can't pull them there immediately. You got to slow.
Yeah.
So we've only got a couple of seconds left. I do want to give time for some shameless plugs. Margaret, 10 seconds, shameless plugs. Go.
Well, of course, tonight, 7 o'clock. Tomorrow, 5:30, we're doing, what is this? The parade is in the morning. And then Monday. No, Sunday.
Tomorrow's Saturday.
Okay, Saturday's parade. Sunday is 5:30. What is a street pirate? Please come to that.
Excellent. Ian?
Well, tonight, Leanne and I have our show at the, we used to be the West End.
The formerly known as
Yes,
Sheraton.
the Cortland Grand at 10 o'clock. It's called Science and Fiction Comedy Show. It's also listed separately here. There was a mix-up, so it's actually over there.
Yes, thank you for reminding me. We're double booked, the Skeptic Track and that. Please, we're going to have signs and direct, but please just go there instead of coming here.
Yeah, 10 o'clock tonight.
Yes.
Yep.
Same plug, Science and Fiction Comedy Show, 10 o'clock tonight. It'll be fun. I'm also in some very interesting panels. Saturday night, 10 p.m. It's called They Actually Did That Too. It's a reprise of last year's panel where we talk about very questionable comic book characters and representation of folks of color and how it has gone horribly wrong when we start out. Yeah, we everybody thinks, oh, Black Panther. Yeah, that's great. There's a lot of missteps before we got to Wakanda.
Oh, yeah. Oh, goodness. John?
So tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, I believe in the ballroom over here, is a show with me and Kurt, or we'll be doing magic. He's opening, and then I'll be talking for a long time. And so that'd be good. And then at 10 o'clock that same night in here, I believe, is Wait, Don't Fool Me. I believe, right.
Yes.
Yes, that's what it says right here, and that's got like the NPR game show, and that'd be fun. I'm gonna be a panelist on that.
Kurt?
I snuck mine in earlier.
Okay, never mind then. Okay.
But hey, those of you who had questions, not all the panelists can stay around, but feel free to come up after if someone here could address your question. Ask it anyway. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad to be here. Have a happy con.
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you so much for
Thank you all.
coming, and welcome to our first panel. I'm Dr. Angie. Thank you to Mark Ditzler and Derek Colanduno, and we'll see you later. Do no harm. Take